Welcome to the NEREJ NYREJ podcast. I'm your host, Rick Kaplan, and we got a special guest today. We have Toni Dupell, and she's with EQUANS Services. Good morning, Toni.
Good morning, Rick. How are you?
I'm great. It's great to see you.
You as well.
So Toni, tell me about your journey on how you got to where you are today.
So I started, my family has always been in construction. So I started just working weekends in construction with my dad, helping replace windows, painting fences, little jobs here and there to help pay for my cell phone bill. I wanted to be independent. And then when I graduated high school, I went to UMass Amherst for a semester without visiting, realized I hated it. It was not the right fit for me. So I had interned at a construction company at the end of high school, and I ended up going back full time and putting myself through school while I was working full time in construction. So I started as a receptionist, then moved my way up to administrative assistant. Then I switched companies and went into the project management side of things. So I started as an APM and then eventually started project managing my own work. And that was a lot of fit out stuff for tech companies. So Google, Twitter, Facebook, Microsoft, all of those. And then a little bit of life sciences. So that's when I kind of started dipping my toe into life sciences. And when you're doing fit out projects, it's very fast paced. You're kind of feeding yourself a little bit. So that was also when I got my first introduction to business development and networking events and getting myself out there. So I was doing a little bit of a mix of everything while doing school and bartending and a little bit of everything, the life skills too that you learn bartending, I think are applicable to business development and construction as well. Conflict management, chaos, managing chaos, all the things. So I ended up moving to New York City in 2018, working for a large GC, and was doing a really big project where I didn't get to do a lot of the BD, didn't really get to really leave the job site, honestly. And I was new to the city. I wasn't making any friends. And I figured I had already taken a big risk moving to New York City kind of out of nowhere that I decided to make the big jump into a whole new role and took on a full business development role. So I went to a MEP engineering firm that I knew in Boston. I worked with them a lot when I was doing projects. So I reached out to them and just said, hey, I'm in New York City now. I think I want to switch into BD and would love to work for you guys. And it just all worked out. And I ended up on the BD side in New York, and I was able to make all these connections and friends and really found kind of my spot in the industry. And then obviously COVID hit. And some craziness, obviously. So I decided to move back to the Boston area. And that's when I started working pretty exclusively in the pharma industry for engineering firms. So now I've been in life sciences, primarily pharma, med tech, for the last 6 years or so. So that's where I'm at now. So now I'm at an integrated facilities management and sustainability company, EQUANS Services. We're part of a larger group that has a bunch of other companies and services across MEP services, controls, automation, you name it, we kind of have it in-house. So now I'm on the facilities management side. I'm currently looking for new clients, which is, kind of the point of BD, and also helping manage a global Moderna facilities management account. So
Very
that's kind of
interesting.
the quick and dirty of it.
Yeah, well, it was a great journey.
Yeah. I mean, I think
learning.
I've gotten to see the full spectrum of
I actually
kind
have a
of
question about the beginning part of your journey.
Yeah.
Where you went to school, Amherst, UMass Amherst, and you really weren't a fan of that. So you decided to go into the working field, start a career. And you took on construction, and you kind of developed a career out of it.
Yeah.
Now, so before you even answer that, I know you're anxious to jump in, but so once you started your career, and you didn't finish school,
Mhm.
so you didn't have all that tuition money that you owed back, or whatever
Yeah,
people owe for the college. Uh,
craziness. Yeah.
and but you started a career and you enjoyed it, and you were successful at it.
Mhm.
Young people today really don't know about that, and the construction industry and the trades in general
Yeah.
are trying to attract people that
Hmm.
aren't interested in that direction, where they go to school,
Hmm.
become an accountant or a lawyer, or whatever they want to be, and not enjoy their work, and
Yeah.
end up coming back to be in the construction industry,
Yeah.
Uh, so, I mean, you knew what you want, you knew your direction when you started school. You really did want to be in construction. You really liked that.
Yeah, well, actually, it was under my nose for a really long time, but I didn't really realize it. It was kind of a means to an end at the time where I was like, this is what I know and what I grew up with and everything. But nobody specifically told me that there is a place for women in construction outside of, maybe the traditional roles. So I think in high school, meeting up with advisors, they're like, yeah, you should do marketing, you should do this. Nobody ever brought up the construction industry to me. So it was never really on my radar. It was just what fell into my lap. And then, even working my way up through construction while going to school, I was focused on going into marketing or something. I went through community school, and then I went to Bentley University for a while and was in the marketing program, and quickly realized it just wasn't really for me. And I think really the biggest switch for me was when I made the switch into project management, that I truly fell in love with the industry and the work that I was doing, and just the impact, the fast pace, seeing how happy clients were at the end of it with like such a beautiful space, and really the cool spaces that I was doing at the time, especially doing fit outs. Like, you get to be a little bit more creative. There's a lot more kind of that side of things. So I really think it kind of just fell into my lap. And then when I was in the project management side of things, that's when I made the switch to Wentworth, to their project management degree. So yeah, it all kind of fell into place, but it was never really top of mind because nobody's going into your high school or middle school talking about being in the construction industry. And now, all these years later, there's women everywhere in the industry, like across design, across construction, across facilities management, lab management,
Right.
all these different things. And, I really hope that eventually I can give back in that sense, and maybe go back to my high school or a different school and talk about kind of this journey.
Yeah, because it definitely is not on any young women, or at that point girls, I should say,
Yeah.
to go into the construction industry.
Yeah.
It's just never on the radar, and not on the
No,
school. They definitely don't push that, uh,
no.
and
Yeah,
it's
I went to a really
unfortunate.
small school too, so it just wasn't the same resources. I graduated with like 60 something kids.
Oh,
So
wow.
they're just yeah, yeah. So UMass, like I said, was a bit of a culture shock,
Right.
which is weird that I ended up in New York City all those years later. I think I just needed a little bit more time.
Yeah, yeah, and then once you get a taste of the city life, you don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
understand that. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of city life,
Yeah.
although they're
I'm in the
making it
burbs now.
tougher and
So
tougher to be able to afford to be in that
yeah,
lifestyle. But
exactly. Yeah. But I've settled down in the burbs now. I had my fun.
well, now you're all grown up.
Yeah, yep. All grown up now.
You have your own family,
Yeah.
but it's interesting how you have taken on that role, and
Mhm.
you have just run with it. You
Yeah.
you kind of grew into it, and
Hmm.
you're where you are today. I mean, this new job, this is a
Yeah.
new career move you just started with
Yeah.
EQUANS,
Hmm.
and it actually sounds pretty interesting. Tell me a little bit about
Yeah.
what's involved with this new job.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think traditional facilities management is kind of tailored towards office buildings and just normal kind of facilities. And then now that there's so much life science, especially in New England, we're not just office buildings with lab benches in them. There's a lot more that goes into it. So I think what really attracted me to EQUANS was that there was that in-house technical expertise to be able to truly help life science companies as they're scaling up, not interrupt, operations. There's so many things that go into life science, and depending on what cycle they're in and what they're doing, there's just a lot going on that a traditional facilities management company might not understand or be able to help tackle some of the challenges internally. Whereas this company truly has all the in-house expertise from, process engineering, all the MEPs, kind of the automation and controls, everything. So I really thought that the company filled a gap, especially here in New England. I'm covering life science for all of North America. So I'm starting with my New England connections and kind of getting those out of the way now that I'm about a month in, and kind of tackling those first. But, obviously there's Raleigh area, North Carolina is blowing up. Philly's usually pretty busy. So I think I'll eventually be traveling and doing all of that. But I think it is a gap that traditional facilities management, building management companies don't really fill. So I think it's a really interesting company.
Well, it kind of condensed into Massachusetts, and now it's kind of expanding out. New Hampshire, it's starting to explode,
Yep.
and little in Maine,
Yep.
and Rhode Island, it's starting to explode.
Exactly.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, there's
I think I'll
lots
be
of
busy enough.
there's lots and lots of opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're probably seeing that. And
Yeah.
if they're a global company, or you said they're
Yeah.
global, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, there's great opportunity, I
Yeah.
would think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, my main focus, because it's my backyard, is New England, and I want to see New England grow. I mean, I think we're certainly a pillar of growth. And, I think we've obviously seen some of the slowdown and layoffs and everything in life sciences. But I think Boston, New England, I think as long as we follow the science and encourage that science, I think things will continue to move in the direction that we all want to see it. And I think Massachusetts and New England, people tend to follow us. I think we are kind of like someone to follow and look up to a little bit, especially with life sciences. I mean, we have all the best facilities and schools and healthcare and all these things. So I think we don't really have a choice but to move forward and continue growing. And I think science isn't going to stop regardless. So I think there's a lot of potential. And even about a week or so ago, I'm also chair of Women in Bio's Greater Boston chapter. And we just had our lobster pot event, which is a Shark Tank type pitch event, but it's called Lobster Pot because it's Boston. So we got to be on theme.
That sounds interesting. Well,
Yeah. So
tell me a little bit about that.
yeah, so we have pre-Series A, women-founded, women-started life science companies come and practice their company pitches to women venture capitalists. So it's really cool. And, it's so encouraging to see these women still moving forward, still pushing. And I think we've always known and seen that women companies don't always get the funding and support that maybe a male founded company does. So I think it's really special to be able to give them that platform. And I think even though it's not really technically a competition, they don't win anything at the end. We're not able to give them money as a nonprofit type of thing. It does get those conversations started, and they do end up having more formal pitches and meetings with these VCs afterwards. So it's just amazing to see the ideas that are still happening, the science that's still moving forward, and those conversations still happening. So I think it was a very promising event, and I think it always kind of leaves people feeling a little bit more hopeful than they did before.
Well, I definitely think that the women in construction and project management and property management, all those fields, I think there's definitely a major growth with women being established in those positions.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see there's so many new organizations that have started
Yeah.
for women.
Yeah.
Because
I
when
think it's very
I
important.
first started doing, I do the events. When I first started doing the events, and I did have a show, a radio show that was on weekly for commercial real estate.
Mhm.
I didn't see that many women that were
Mhm.
coming into well, they were in the industry, but it wasn't in large amounts. There
Yeah.
were just small little groups of
Yeah.
women coming in. Now
Mhm.
I see quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think
that,
it's definitely changed a lot since, when I entered the industry was what, 2007, 2008, which was also a recession. So maybe that has something to do with it as well. But, I think when I first started, I maybe had one person to look up to in the industry, maybe two if it was, a busy year. But now I feel like I have such a huge network of women in this industry who are in the same season of life and have kind of had similar career journeys and who are also either, moms of teenagers or moms of littles. And, so you have people that you can either look up to or commiserate with sometimes or compare notes and everything. But I think some of these women's groups definitely have a really big part of that. And, I think sometimes I have heard, unfortunately, some feedback like, why are there all these women's groups and why are you isolating yourselves and all of that? But I think something that people don't understand is that most, like, if not all of these groups are open to men as well. And I think they can only succeed if we have male allies in the industry who are showing up, understand maybe some of the challenges that we have and other things that we're going through. And I think it makes us just all better.
well, I can tell you, and I'm going back a number of years. There's a group, the Women in Construction, which you
Mhm.
probably are familiar with,
Yep.
and I was invited. They have a a bowling tournament or something. It was something like
Okay.
that. I was invited to that, and I actually came in first place.
Oh, wow.
I got
Okay.
I got a nice little trophy. It was about this big, it wasn't very big, but I got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I enjoy those groups. They had a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
they're not that big yet. At that
Yeah.
time, they weren't that big, but there was still a national organization,
Yeah.
Women in Construction. I
Yeah.
can see that being a much bigger organization now, and
Yeah. Yeah.
now
I'm
there's
sure
all
it
these
is.
other uh, uh, organizations that kind of are breaking into the industry, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really nice. Even, I mean, Women in Bio isn't obviously construction focused, but we do have a number of service providers, myself included. But I think at our peak, we were at like 700 members, which for one chapter is pretty crazy. It was certainly the largest Women in Bio chapter. Numbers have slipped a little bit, I think, just due to the market and everything. And but we're working on turning that around. And as we get companies to sponsor, they get 10 memberships, 5 memberships, whatever it is. So I think once we're refocusing on that a little bit and getting some of the players back in, we'll start seeing an uptick in the membership numbers again. But it's super important. And I think all the groups, what they have in common is that they have different events that are social, but then also career development, or in our case for women in bioscientific focused, or with women in construction, professional women in construction focused, or project management focused, or design focused. So I think as much as they are fun and social, I think also having those growth aspects and creating opportunity to learn from each other and everything. A lot of our panels for women in bio are members. We don't typically pay for anybody to come in and have a special topic or anything. It's really just our own internal community. I think that's common across a lot of the organizations. So, you get to learn a lot from your peers, and it's just a really great opportunity.
Yeah, and we also are starting to see a lot of heads of uh, large corporations, like construction companies that are women.
Yeah.
So it shows that there's a lot of growth for the for women in the industry
Mhm.
now.
Hmm.
There's nothing stopping anyone,
No.
there's opportunity. It might be a
Yeah.
little harder for women to
Yeah.
get to those positions, but
Mhm.
they're reaching those levels.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
they're setting the ways. It's going to make it easier and easier for everyone. But in that sentence is also the same for minorities, I would say.
Yeah.
The minorities are starting to break into a lot of different roles that they would never have achieved
Mhm.
or achieved uh, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see that happening as well, which is great. So it's
Yeah.
kind
It's
of
amazing.
it's well, it's great because in New England it was always looked at as the good old boy network.
Hmm.
And those, the guys that the old, and everyone's
Yeah.
always says this to me, old white men were always the ones that were either talking uh,
Yeah.
about different points of the
Hmm.
business or head of
Hmm.
different companies. But
Hmm.
now it's not like that. It's a array of different type of people. Not
Yeah.
not not everyone looks the same.
Yeah. And that's how it should be, right? I mean, you
Right.
want the
That's
different
exactly how it
ideas,
should be.
different perspectives. You don't want to be in a, think tank situation where everybody looks the same, thinks the same, have the same outcome. I think diversity is what's really
Yeah.
going to bring construction and science and everything forward.
And I'm a great believer. I'm not I don't believe in anyone, male, female, minority, doesn't matter. If you have the right qualifications for the job,
Mhm.
you should be able to have the chance to get that job,
100%.
or the opportunity to get that job.
Yeah.
And I
100%.
think that's starting to come into play. So,
Hmm. Yeah,
which is great,
definitely.
you know.
Definitely. Yeah.
So now we can have a lot of different opportunities for young women
Yeah.
graduating high school,
Yeah.
you know,
That would be
and
amazing.
and maybe young minority men
Yeah.
and women
Hmm.
graduating high school. They have
Yeah.
they have a direction they can go to. So
Hmm. For
that's my
sure.
little speech for the day.
I love it.
Yeah. So um, I know you've met a lot of people in the industry. So
Yeah.
networking, and you
Hmm.
were in business development, so you understand the networking.
Yeah.
And I try to tell the people, and you probably can tell them even better, uh,
Mhm.
how important networking is in the growth of your career.
100%. Yeah. I mean, I think even through going through the story about how I kind of made it to where I am, like I truly think a lot of that was due to networking and having a strong network. I don't think I ever would have been able to make the jump from project management to business development without having that network back in Boston to rely on to say, hey, I want to make this switch. Are you open to it? And because they knew and trusted me from working together in Boston, I was able to make that jump into BD. So I really think networking is everything and something that I've really tried to push at companies that I've worked for. One of the last companies I worked for, I had a marketing BD person on my team, and she really wanted to get into more of the BD stuff and get out there. And something I had learned at one of the companies was the whole doer seller kind of model, which I hate the term doer seller. And I don't think it lands, especially on a technical side. So when I was at an MEP firm and we were trying to push a doer seller model, I rebranded it to doer developer because develop is just a lot more digestible, especially to a technical person, than seller. Seller sounds like sales calls, cold calls, selling, being
Yeah.
out all the time. Whereas developing, you're developing relationships, you're developing business, you're developing projects. Like it just has a nicer connotation, and I think a more digestible one, especially for people who, maybe they went into a technical kind of background because they don't want to be outgoing and out there and taking people to lunch and whatever. So I think that rebrand is a very important part of business development. But one of the things that I tasked this girl going back, this woman, young woman, I had her find some of the younger kind of rising stars that were in the company that were involved with projects and started kind of encouraging them to participate and develop a doer developer program. And really kind of what our purpose was and all of that was, for you to grow at the company. The guys who have all these relationships and who are bringing in some of this business and all these things, they're not going to be here forever to feed you work. You have to start building those relationships now in your 20s and kind of grow with them and be able to grow those connections, grow your network so that you can grow in your career and you can eventually be in that position. Because I think if you don't have that network and don't have those connections, it's very hard to be in a leadership position in this industry. So I think it's something that more companies should be pushing their younger people to do and encouraging them to go to events. I mean, yeah, it's expensive and whatever, but I think the long-term payoff, especially if it also makes them happy, it gives them kind of more enrichment. It gets them away from their desk. I think there's just so many benefits to a program like that internally at a company, and really just helps them in the long run too. So yeah, I think that's a great thing.
Well, you mentioned how it could be very expensive, but if they go to a New England Real Estate Journal event,
Yeah.
those are
Quick plug.
we're not very expensive. We never have spots where you have to pay for parking,
That's
and
true.
we also, we try to break up our topics and
Yeah.
our areas that we have our events. So,
Yeah.
people can enjoy, Maine, New
Yeah.
Hampshire, Massachusetts,
Exactly.
Western Mass,
Yeah.
Rhode
Build a
Island.
regional network.
Yeah, so I mean, it's great, great for networking. Uh, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I do try to keep our costs down, though, to be serious
Yeah.
about it. I don't feel as though there's so many events that go on throughout
Mhm.
the industry. You could go to an event every 3 hours a day,
Yeah.
you know,
100%.
and some are very expensive,
Yeah.
and some are reasonable. I mean, I
Hmm.
try to keep ours very reasonable,
Hmm.
but we also try to limit the amount of people that can attend. We
Hmm.
don't want any more than, I think the max I would have is 200 people.
Yeah.
I did have an event years ago where I had over 300 people that attended.
Oh my God.
Problem is that, and you know this as being in business development,
Hmm.
the more people that are there, it's more difficult to meet and greet and
Yeah.
develop those relationships because
Yeah.
everyone gets into their clique, and now you have to
Yeah.
try to break into those cliques.
Yeah.
Um,
It can be a little overwhelming too if you
yeah,
can't really find a person that you know and be able to kind of work the room with them and that kind of thing. The larger events can get super overwhelming for sure.
yeah. So I mean, and that's one of the things that people have told me over the years. So it's
Hmm.
almost better to go to a smaller event, and you'll
Hmm.
meet you'll meet more people, and
I
make
think
more
so too.
relationships as well. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, that was the philosophy that I
Yeah.
put in
Well,
place.
and I think with some of the smaller events, I've planned plenty of like fireside chats and things like that. I think people are more willing to open up and ask the questions that they actually want to ask and have the conversations they really want to have when there's less pressure of so many people and eyes in the room.
Yeah, I can tell you, I know from a few people that I know from coming to our events
Yeah.
that they have gotten great opportunities like jobs uh, to for construction to
Yeah.
develop uh,
Mhm.
from meeting at our events. The relationships that they created from that.
Yeah.
I know one. Well, I can talk about a couple, but I know one that they got a construction job. They built a building from ground up just from
Amazing.
meeting someone at one of our events.
Yeah.
So,
You never know. You never know who
right.
you're going to run into.
Right, you never
Yeah.
know, but at least when you come to one of our events, you have the opportunity to find someone in the
Yeah.
group. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's not
You just
like
got to make the best of it. You can't just show up and sit
right.
there and be
Well, that's one of the
quiet.
things
You got to,
we kind of try to do that. We
yeah.
try to introduce other people to other people. And
Yeah.
we try to make the relationships for them, make it easier. So,
Yeah. Yeah. The
which
connector.
now I got on my soapbox again. I started, this is about you, Tony.
I appreciate the plugs for sure.
And you've come to our events, so.
Yep. Yep.
But
I have. They've been great.
so, as far as what you're doing right now,
Yeah,
well, it sounds like you enjoy it, first
I
off,
do. I
and
do.
that's an important part.
Hmm.
Uh, what areas are you covering at this point?
Yeah, so right now my main focus is all life science. So right now I've been reaching out to previous clients, setting up kind of intro meetings, catch up coffees, catch up lunches, all that kind of stuff. And on the flip side of that, also coming up with more of a strategy. I think people think BD is a lot of just schmoozing, which obviously there is a decent amount of that, but you can't schmooze without strategy behind it. So I've been working in the background, coming up with strategies, certain targets, who we would like to work with at different sizes. There's the big blue chip companies, there's the mid-size, and then the startups is really where I love the startups. The startups are great. Obviously, we haven't seen the same traction with startups that we saw back in 2020, 2021, and starting out and building these huge facilities and all of that. But I think there's still a lot of potential there, especially on the facilities management side of that with on-call services. They don't need to have an integrated in-house team. We can do more of a hybrid kind of solution for them. So coming up with different solutions for the different size companies and what their needs might be. But that is that's my main focus right now. And obviously EQUANS isn't super well known in the industry right now, but I also feel like that's one of my specialties. I feel like I'm kind of known for not working for the most well-known companies, at least in the last few years, especially being in the pharma side of things. So, definitely trying to be strategic about what events I go to, what I'm going to sign up for, and just getting the name out there. So, this podcast is part of that. Obviously, you have a really great reach. I think I've done maybe one podcast before, and it was not on video. I was in New York, and I think it was just about LinkedIn. We were just talking about using LinkedIn during COVID or something like that. So it was a little less pressure, and it was me and another guest, so I didn't have to say too much. But and getting out of my comfort zone a little bit too, doing something like this. But I'm hoping that I can, get out there to more events now that I'm a little bit more settled and established, hopefully have more opportunities like this, your speaking engagements, that kind of thing, and just really get the word out there about EQUANS Services and our sister companies and everything. I have a conference coming up later this month in New York City, so that'll be really good to get back to New York and get back to that conference. I missed it last year due to maternity leave, so this will be my first year back in a little bit. So I'm excited to get back in the mix with everybody. I have a couple client meetings lined up, a couple industry parties and things to go to, but going back, I think the strategy part is really like the most important part, and not just willy-nilly reaching out to people and whatever. So I really wanted to make sure we had that kind of built up first before kind of tackling everything else.
Well, that sounds great. And, we're here to help spread the
Yeah,
word. So,
I
if you want to
appreciate it.
promote the business,
Yeah,
we're happy to do that and through our
perfect.
events, through our podcasts, through our weekly journal that we put out, the New
Yeah,
England Real Estate Journal.
awesome.
I mean, that goes out to, tens of thousands of people every week. So, it's,
Yeah,
and
perfect.
it's
You're the
read
guy.
by, huh? Yeah,
You're the guy.
that's a great way to spread the word.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Absolutely. the goal.
Even our podcast, we have thousands of downloads every month. So
Incredible.
it's and fortunately it's all over the world.
Yeah.
A lot of our downloads because it's a
Yep.
podcast and it's through
Yeah.
the World Wide Web, the internet. Yeah.
Luckily,
So,
we're global, so maybe it'll hit the right
well, yeah,
person.
it probably will. People might say, "Oh, I recognize that name."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
By
Perfect.
the end of this month, Toni Dupell will be a household name. How's that, huh?
We're manifesting it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, and we do appreciate you coming on the show and telling us
I
about your little
very
journey
much
that
appreciate.
you've gone on. And it
Thank
sounds like it's
you.
been a successful one.
Yeah, so
So,
far.
Toni, if someone interested in getting a hold of you,
Yeah,
is there a
absolutely.
website they would go to, or do they reach you on your email? It's
My email would be perfect. It's tony.dupell@equans.com. I'm sure you can put it in show notes or anything. LinkedIn is also a really great way to get in touch with me. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I think it's an amazing tool. I use it all the time. So that's another way to get in touch with me. Other than that, any upcoming events I'm gonna hopefully be at. So if you see the 5 foot tall loud person, it's likely me.
well, the LinkedIn is just like a wonderful tool right now. You
It
know,
really is. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
I
it's
think I really embraced it during COVID. COVID was
yeah,
definitely,
I think a lot of people have. And,
yeah.
now a lot
Yeah.
of people say, well, I don't have a business card on me, but you can find me on LinkedIn. Just
Yeah. There's
contact
the
me there and
QR
we
code right
connect.
there.
Yeah.
It's my favorite party trick to show people the QR code built into the LinkedIn app because a lot of people don't know about it. And everybody's always amazed. And I feel like that's how I leave an impression with people half of the time.
Well, you got to have
Yeah.
that little thing that,
Yeah.
sets you apart,
Yeah.
which is
Exactly.
good. Uh, you know, I'm glad you contacted me. I'm glad you came on the
Yes.
show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the
It was
opportunity
a
and
pleasure
hopefully we'll
speaking
get
with
to do
you.
this soon. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll see each other.
All right.
I'm out and about all the time.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I look forward to it.
I might be standing in the corner being quiet and shy, but
Perfect. I'll find
yeah,
you.
yeah, that's everyone always finds me.
Yeah.
They kind of recognize me. My son always
Yeah.
said, I said, I'm going to shave off my mustache. And my son always said, you can't shave off your mustache. That's
Yeah.
what do you call it? That's how people know who you
Yeah.
are. That's
Yeah.
your MO
Yep.
or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yep.
But
People know you
yeah,
by it.
so,
I
yeah.
love it.
And my bald
Everyone's
head.
got one. I won't be matching you in that department.
Yeah, well, that's good. I hope not in either one.
Yeah. We'll avoid both.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you, Toni. It's
So
been a pleasure speaking
thank
with
you.
you.
You
And
as well, Rick.
again,
Thank
it's
you.
Equans Service.
Equans. Yep.
And does
Equan Services.
Equan Service have a website?
Yeah, it is. Let me double check it because there's a few different Equans companies, so I don't want to get it wrong. But it's equanservices.com.
Okay, easy enough.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
straightforward.
EQUANS.
EQUANS. Yep, services.com.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Again, thank you, Toni.
Thank you. I will see you soon.
I'm Rick Kaplan with the NEREJ NYREJ podcast. Until next time.